All right, hey guys, it's Gene. Wanted to do a video response to a comment that I got on my Path to a PC-12 job video about the pilot shortage. And Mars Born was asking if it would be worth it to leave his current job for a flying job. And this is kind of an interesting one, so I thought I'd jump in here and share my thoughts on this because that's a big decision to make a career change and try something new like this, especially something as complicated as a flying career. So anyway, it's a good question, and of course there's no easy answer. I think this depends on individual preferences and a number of factors. So let's talk about some of those things. And first of all, let me start by saying that everybody loves flying when they start, and very few people end up maintaining that level of enthusiasm and passion for flying throughout their career. And I think this is really true in any career. Usually we're motivated to try something new. We crave a variety of experiences as human beings, and we get into something and we try it, and it's interesting and exciting at first. And then after a while, the novelty kind of wears off and it just becomes a job. And I do not mean to be a Debbie Downer here. Flying is an amazing profession, and certainly is something that if you have a passion for it, you can maintain that passion throughout your career, but it's awfully tough to keep the excitement level up, and it does kind of turn into a drag at times, just like anything in life that you do over and over and over again year after year. So I wanted to say that just to reiterate the point that if you're not passionate about flying, this probably is not worth it to go after a big massive career change like this, because you have to work your butt off to get your certificates and ratings, get your hours, get yourself into a position where you can start a job. And then usually the first few jobs that you have as a professional pilot are low-paying, crappy jobs. That's changing quite a bit now, and there's never been a better time to be a professional pilot. And new guys, low-time pilots that are just getting into the field have more opportunities than I've ever seen in 22 years of being in aviation, and it's just an amazing time. So that's the good news. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it does kind of become a drag after a while. Any professional pilot that I know, me included, we all try to fly the least amount possible that we can. Nobody really usually leaps out of bed and wants to run into work. Again, I think that's true across most professions, and that's not to say that we don't like flying anymore. It's just that a job is a job after a while, and we all would like more time off than we get. And so yeah, anyway, if you're not extremely passionate about flying, I would say it is not worth it to get into this profession, spend all the money to go through the training and all that stuff to just burn out after a few years of doing it. And I've seen that happen even to young guys that are full of energy. They just burn out after a few years and they quit, and they change careers. And I've actually seen professional pilots leave flying and go into tech. So some of the things that make the job difficult, I would say the number one complaint that you'll probably hear from pilots is time away from home, time on the road. You're a pilot, so you're going to be expected to fly airplanes, and airplanes fly generally pretty far distances. And so, of course, this isn't true of every single flying job. There are exceptions, but for most jobs, you do spend a long time on the road, and that just really gets old. At first you probably won't mind it for the first 1, 2, 3 years, and then after a while you're going to miss your friends and your family and your dog, and you're going to want to be home more, and it just becomes kind of a grind. You can never put the suitcase away. You sleep in a hotel for up to half of your life, so that can be really tough. And also you can make a lot of money as a professional pilot, but you're never going to be filthy rich. I mean, never say never. If you're a senior wide body captain at a major airline, I mean, you can make $600,000 a year. I mean, the money, but that's only after you've slaved away for decades to get to that point. Anyway, so certainly pilots can make good money. you can make more money in other professions doing other things, and I wouldn't just strictly do it for the money, although, like I said, it's not terrible, but it's not worth all the time on the road, I think, for most people at the end of the day. And then also, another factor is that you have to, in most professional flying jobs, fly with a crew. And that can be a great thing if you get along with your crew, and it can be a horrible thing if you don't. And, if you go out on a 3 or 4 day trip with Captain Grumpy, it's going to be a long 3 or 4 days, and that becomes part of the job. And you're kind of attached at the hip with the person. Even when you're off, you kind of expected in some jobs to go out and hang out with them, and you're not supposed to be a slam clicker, which means you go into the hotel room and you slam and lock the door, and that you don't come out until it's time to fly again. You can do that, but it's frowned upon, and you're probably going to have a rough go of it if you have that personality type. So that's a really tough thing. There are single pilot jobs out there. They usually don't pay crap. So usually, if you want to make the big bucks, you're going to be flying a multi-crew airplane, and you're going to have to deal with sitting next to someone on these long trips. And it's kind of like being on a date with someone, for 13 hours. If you don't vibe with them, you don't mesh with them well, it's just a miserable day. And then you got to do it all again the next day. So that can wear on people if you're not a very extroverted person. That can be a pretty brutal part of the job for some people. Everybody's different, so everybody has a different experience of the job. So anyway, those are a few things that come to mind, and I think that this is a very individual choice. I think that the point that I want to stress the most is that there will come a day that you're not excited to fly. And I don't in any way mean to be negative by saying that. It's just a kind of a fact of life, how we are as human beings. And again, I think this is true of any job. I'm sure that if you grew up wanting to be a doctor and you became a surgeon, and you really enjoyed your career for the first 5 or 10 years, there probably comes a day where it's a little bit of a grind, and you got to go do it, and you'd rather be doing something else. And flying is no different. So. And on the plus side, we get to fly airplanes. So that's pretty amazing. If you love machines and you love good scenery and you love traveling, this is a great way to combine those things. So it's a lot of fun to study the airplanes, to learn the systems, to master the flying, to get to see the heavens. The scenery is just off the charts sometimes when you're flying over beautiful parts of the country and catching a sunset from the cockpit, So there's a lot of poetry up there, and it's just an amazing experience. So, is it worth it? I think that's an individual choice, and it's worth it for me. I always wanted to be a pilot ever since I was born. When I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to fly airplanes, and I just had that passion for it, and that has carried me through. Although there have been times when, I've thought about changing careers. So. I'm still here, and I'll probably be here for the long haul, but that's just not the case for everybody, and it's a tough job. So anyway, those are my thoughts about the question. Thanks for the question there, Mars Born. Appreciate it. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments, or what other questions you have. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next video.